Hello everyone and welcome back to the Killer Cook's Kitchen. Today we are going to be making chicken broth for chicken soup. Over here, if you come a little closer, we have all our ingredients for the broth. We have onions, carrots, and celery, parsley. This is our pasta. It's little balls of pasta for the soup. We'll come back to that a little bit later. The meat that's going to go into the broth is I have some chicken backs here, which there's no meat on really, it's just bone and whatnot. That's just to build your flavor. We have beef stewing bits with a little bit of bone in it. That's again edible, but more to build the flavor for the broth. And then we have 2 chicken breasts here with the bone, the meat. The meat is what we're going to use to pull after and chop it up and put it in the soup. Alright, just going to wash my hands real quick. So what we're going to do is, we're going to saute. If you want to come a little closer here. We're going to get our pot hot here. A little bit of olive oil. We're going to let that get hot for a second. And what we're going to do is, we're going to saute our onions, carrots, and celery. Get that flavor building up as we go along here. Stove's heating up. We'll just give that a minute. I'll grab a spoon here. Once we saute those vegetables a little bit, we'll put the meat in there, and then we're going to fill the pot up with water. We're going to fill it up almost to the top, but you got to keep an eye on it because as soon as it starts to boil, all the fat's going to come to the top from the meat, and we're going to have to skim it. We're going to have to skim that fat off so it doesn't boil back into your broth. It's going to make your broth cloudy, and it's not going to change the taste at all. It's just going to make it not look very nice. So what we're going to do is, this is still heating up here for a second. If you want to look back here just for a second, I have some carrots and celery here. These I'm going to chop up into small pieces like this. Into small pieces, and we're going to put that aside for the soup. That's going to go into our pasta and our soup afterwards, after the broth is all done and prepared. And we're just going to chop up everything like this. And we're going to do the same with the celery. You want to try and get it, just be careful with your fingers. You don't need it too big, but you don't want it tiny either. It's going to cook down a little bit once, because we're gonna saute these little pieces of carrots and celery in a fry pan, and then we'll add it to the soup, the pasta that we eat after the fact. So our oil should be hot here now, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our onions, and our carrots and celery. That's our base for the broth. We're gonna saute that a little bit. We'll let that cook down a little bit. While that's cooking down a little bit, we can come back to our vegetables here and just continue to chop up our vegetables for the soup afterwards. Just put everything there. You can hear the vegetables cooking behind us here in the pot. Vegetables, just want to let them cook for a few minutes to get a little bit of caramelization on the vegetables, so the flavor starts to come out of them. Right, and we'll just let that go for a couple seconds, and I'll just finish up these vegetables here for the soup. I'll just get these done. Real quick here. This will be for the soup afterwards. There we go, that's done. And our vegetables here are nice and coming cooking down a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our meat in there now. So we have our 2 chicken breasts. We have our chicken backs. And we have our beef stewing meat. Okay? Now we're just going to leave that like that. What we're going to do is we're going to take the pot. We're going to bring it over here to the sink. And we're just going to fill it up with water. Now you want to fill it up pretty much full, because once this starts to cook down, the water is going to reduce quite a bit. We're going to let it cook for about an hour, hour and a half to really build that flavor from the meat in there. So that's pretty good there. We'll come back to the stove here. Okay, so that's in, and now we're going to season it. We're going to put salt, some pepper, a little bit of chili flakes, and just a pinch of cinnamon. I like to put cinnamon in my broth. Get rid of this stuff. And last but not least, we're going to put our parsley. Just leave it whole. Mix everything together here. And that's pretty much it. We're going to let that come to a boil. We're going to skim it off. And then we'll turn it down to a low simmer. And we'll let it cook slowly. So we're just going to take a pause right now. And we'll come back to it when it's boiling. And I'll show you how to skim it. And turn it down to a small boil. And then we'll continue with the soup after the broth is cooked.